Hello, world. This is America's Supermom, and this is a special edition that I call the Corona Chronicles. During this time, we are suffering from a pandemic that is affecting everyone across the world. We are joined with the rules and regulations of being shelter in place, which means we are limited with the ability to go about our daily business, confined to our homes based on a coronavirus that has been sweeping the entire world. For some people, the effects could be mild. For others, it can be fatal. So we are coming together as a community, as a family during this time of difficulty to share what it is like in our part of the world, how we are affected, and the things that we have in common, what kind of problems that are taking place in our industries and in our relationships and finances, and coming together so that we can plan for a better tomorrow. As this epidemic or pandemic crosses the world, we are waiting for relief. We're waiting for the virus to die off and for us to go back to some state of normalcy, whatever that may be, after things kind of settle down. So, what is that going to look like once the dust settles? How are things going to be different? So, as we go through this process, we're coming together as a world to create ideas, strategies, connect in ways that we have never connected before. So, that is the purpose of the special podcast that I call the Corona Chronicles, so that we can get some insight and have empathy and compassion on one another, create new innovative ideas that can not only improve our life, but our fellow brothers and sisters across the world. Thank you so much for joining us.
I want to thank you guys for joining us today. I am really excited about our next guest, Maxine Fredericks. And we met through another friend, Brother Larry White, who was doing a book signing. And we have been in contact ever since, off and on. Life is happening, but I'm really excited to have her here today because she is such an inspiration for me. Definitely a very goal oriented and somebody that I aspire to stay connected with because she really challenges me to think futuristic and make sure that the things that I'm doing today are moving me closer towards my goals for tomorrow. So at this time, I want to introduce Maxine and give her the opportunity to share a little bit about herself.
Well, good morning, Lachelle. All of those
Good
things
morning.
that you said about me, of course, I want to reverse that because those are all of
Oh,
the qualities that I see in you. So,
oh,
thank you so much for the
hmm
accolades. But honestly,
hmm
those are things that I see in you. But a little bit about myself. My name is Maxine Fredericks, and
hmm
originally from Tampa, Florida. But I spent most of my adult life in the U.S. Virgin Islands on the island of St. Thomas. Came
hmm
back to the U.S. in 2001 on an assignment. In 2003, got another assignment here in the U.S. and I was supposed to be here for 30 days in Atlanta,
mm
and I have been here ever since. So
Okay.
I worked for the federal government, and prior to that, I owned and operated several businesses throughout the Caribbean. And that's a
hmm
little bit about me.
Awesome, awesome. So, we are going to kind of dive into a lot of topics. So many people are in a state of, you know, chaos and, just mentally, really, is what it's boiled down to in terms of, where are we going with this pandemic How do we manage our lives, our children, finances? I mean, the list goes on and on. So I wanted to personally invite you here because you are a financial advisor. And for a lot of people who are being displaced, maybe their job is changing or is being eliminated, so we want to kind of be able to be proactive when it comes to our finances. So I just wanted to possibly have you shed some light. We can have a dialogue about, reinventing yourself or wherever you feel is important to go because, someone in your situation where now you're doing this, advising post retirement, so there's so many different avenues that we can kind of attack this question. So I just want to first begin by saying, what would you advise somebody who, this is all they've known, their particular career or job, and the landscape now has changed? What would you say would be the first thing that they should focus on doing when it comes to getting their financial situation in order?
I have to tell you, first of all, that I am a representative and I am prohibited from having a discussion about any products, any services. I would ask anyone to, if they're having some issues, that they really need to connect with their own financial advisor. So in the realm of that, that is, I am a representative for a company, but I am not allowed to give out advice of any kind.
Okay. So for somebody who, let's say that they want to begin another business post, in this case, we plan to retire at a certain age, but their retirement could be because their job is eliminated. So for somebody who is trying to reinvent themselves, so to speak, what advice would you give them? In your case, you had to come from the Caribbean back to the States. So what advice would you tell them to do in this situation?
Well, always people should invest in themselves and those things that they're passionate about. So whatever you're passionate about, it would make sense for you to invest in it and see if in fact that is something that you really, really want to pursue. And if you find that you want to pursue that, then for me, I've always gone to the persons who I thought were at the top of the chain. They're not always receptive, but it doesn't hurt to try. Reading about whatever it is that you want to pursue, learning as much as you possibly can about that particular area, and then go out and just pursue it. The majority of us don't do things because we are actually afraid to go out and do them. So be afraid. That's a great thing. Just be afraid and go out and attack whatever it is that you want to accomplish.
I love that. And, that is so true because, everybody has fear. We could just have a fear of, getting in a car accident when it comes to driving, So we have to put that in perspective. So one of the things that you just said, though, is really important for a lot of people to kind of understand the meaning behind is investing in themselves.
Yes.
So when people, explain what you mean by that, because we can say that term, but people kind of don't get it. They think, oh, okay, well, I bought this and I bought that. So when you say invest in themselves, what could you clarify that?
I'll give you a perfect example. In my 60s, when I was diagnosed with osteosporosis, osteopenia, if that's pronounced correctly, and I determined that that was something that I did not want to have. And so I went on a quest to figure out how could I eliminate that from my body. And one of the ways was through exercise. And I began to research, and what I found the most effective way was to begin a real exercise program with weight bearing weights. And so I began to explore that. And as I explored it, other people, other things came into my life. And I moved from there into wanting to become a bodybuilder because I knew that that was the way out. So I had to learn how to eat properly. I had to learn how to lift properly. I had to go out and invest in a coach. And those things are the things that we all should be doing in our lives, no matter what it is that we really, really want to pursue it. But I do have to tell you, it's really about wanting something so badly that you determine that no matter what, this is what I'm going to do.
I love that. Now, so we just gonna make sure we heard you correctly. You said you were in your
Yes, ma'am.
60s when you got into
Yes.
bodybuilding. Okay, so what age were you? Because this is good because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know what to do. You know, life is changing, and they're in their 30s and 40s, right? And they can't reinvent themselves. So bodybuilding is something that's a challenge for a younger age, let alone being in your 60s. So what did that look like? And actually, what age were you?
I think I started at about 61, 62, I believe. And it looked like getting up and being in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. It looked like investing in a trainer. It looked like having to drive 20 miles away from my home to be at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. It looked like writing down everything I ate for 2 months. It looked like just, and at that time I was actually working. So I would get in the gym, I would get out in the morning, I would go to work. The closer it came to competition time, I was in the gym twice a day. It required me making the sacrifices that I had to make if I wanted to be as good. And I want to tell you that my very first competition, I flunked. I came in third place and I was so devastated. But I was so devastated behind that the next day I went out and I hired a different coach because I didn't feel like the coach that I had was giving me what I really needed. And so I left that coach and I went out until the very next day because this was something I decided was not going to defeat me. And so I went out and I was determined that I was going to get a professional bodybuilding card. And that's what I worked on. The other thing, my other goal was that I wanted to do bodybuilding shows in every state that my children were in. I had a child in Florida, I had one in North Carolina, and I had one in Virginia. And so and Atlanta. And so I set out to do shows in each one of those states, and I finally earned a pro card.
I love that. Yeah. And this is just, you did this all while you were
Yes.
working a job, so it's like eliminating those excuses. I love that. Now, what was and this is something that's true today because are you still working on your goal of doing another competition
I am.
at 75? Okay, so you're still working on that, and this is how many years
That's
from now?
2 years from now.
Working on this. Okay, so 2 years from now. So this is good to kind of show people the scope of the work. You just don't make up a goal and then work on it for a couple of weeks. This is something you're planning years strategically to do. So I wanted to bring that up. So what is it that you think is key with your mindset in order to help you have the stamina to accomplish this,
repetition,
goal?
over and over practice. I don't always make the cut. Right now, I don't always get up like I'm supposed to do. I've made that commitment a couple of times, months, and I haven't gotten there, but my time is running out. And of course, now with the virus and not being able to go to the gym, I finally had to make a decision that I had to go out and, so I got up this morning and I started from last week. And I've been dealing with some discomfort in my right leg. And I'm determined that that's not going to be a deterrent. I'm going to, that's going to pass. That's passed. And so I got up and I go outside. I walk around my complex. This morning it was funny. I tried to get in 2 miles, but I only got in like 1.5 miles because then some guys who were doing construction, they came over. And then, of course, I hear this guy coughing. Even though I had on a mask, I was like, oh, no. And so I came back on my porch, and then my son had been asking me to do some videos. And talk about fear. I have been afraid to actually try to videotape myself because I've been crippled by having people videotape me. And Friday, Saturday, I determined that I'm going to use this video. So I actually got out on my front porch. I got my phone together. I had bought a tripod, never actually used it. And I started videotaping myself. And I actually did a pretty good job.
Awesome.
So I'm pretty much dropping those videos for my son. He has a group. These are family members. And so he has a group of ladies. And so I'm just dropping the videos. And I know I'm going to get better and better at it.
I love that. That is just awesome. I love how you're able to get out of your comfort zone. Even at the age you're at now. I mean, this is something that is so true. And, there has to be something to a lot with your routines in order for this to be something that you can manipulate or transfer to different facets of your life, so to speak. So, what kind of practices do you think that you do on a regular basis that kind of allow you to be more flexible and with the ability to kind of get out of your comfort zone? Because this definitely is not an average mindset thinking that you're going to do a bodybuilding competition at 75, okay? So
I attribute everything to my spiritual life and growing in that spiritual life. And there are always going to be challenges, but the growth spiritually is the one thing that has taken me throughout life. And I often reflect. I'll sit down sometimes and just reflect. And I've actually taken the time just to write out all of the times when I knew that I was safe and secure in his arms when major things happened in my life. And I'm still here. I think about all the times when I could have been gone. And I also think about how I've been able to grow and how I continue to grow. So I consider myself still a little baby spiritually, but I want to grow. My desire is to be totally obedient, and my biggest wish is to fulfill God's greatest commandment, is to love him with all my heart, my mind, my body, my soul, and all of my strength, and to love my neighbor as myself.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that is just awesome. So for somebody who, we're in this space and, we don't know what tomorrow brings, there's so much uncertainty and even down to, just the daily thing. We're both in Georgia, but, people in different states, different changes with this pandemic. What advice would you give them to make sure that they continue to grow? What are some things that they should be doing actively to make sure that even though it's chaos around them and outside of their homes or whatever, to make sure that they keep moving forward and
Michelle, I think I can only speak for myself. So the peace that surpasses all understanding, I get that when I stay spiritually connected with God. And that too is a practice. That is a practice on a daily basis. I'm not perfect. I don't always meet the goals that I set for myself. But then, of course, it's not about me, really. It really is about my surrender to Him and allowing Him to do the work that He has for me. So that is what works for me. That is what has always worked for me. That is my always go back to, even when I get off kilter. That's the only thing that brings me back. That's the only thing that centers me.
That's awesome. Yeah, praise God for that. Now, so do you have any books or podcasts or different things that people might want to kind of look at during this time, that could kind of help them to make sure that they, begin to move
Well,
forward
my
with
favorite book,
positivity?
of course, is the Bible. And I pretty much go the gamut of almost everything. Every day I'm learning something different. There's a lot of things that are out there, a lot of things that work for me. And I think everybody has to find exactly what works for them. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of books, and just to recommend one in particular, other than the word, the Bible, I can't say that there's a particular favorite. And I read it and I like it, and I'm always buying stuff online. I have tons of books, and sometimes the right book always seems to pop up just for whatever the occasion that I really need.
I love that. I love that. And just, it sounds like you really have a good way of kind of gauging, your own inner voice. I mean, and this is really key because, there's a lot of people saying a lot of different things. And, sometimes if we follow in this person or that person, we really kind of lose sight of what it is that we desire, and I think this is important to point out. I mean, I'm not sure if all your friends are pursuing
Absolutely
bodybuilding.
not even,
You know what I
yeah, not
mean?
even in my own
For your
household.
age group, right?
Everybody has their own dance, and
Exactly.
it takes a long time in your life to figure out what your dance is. And I just know that from experience. And when you start to realize what your dance is and you begin to dance to your own dance, and you stop allowing different mindsets to come in, it's like if you've ever played any kind of a sport, or if you've ever been even on a debating team or any kind of group activity, there is a coach, and that coach is the only person who you should be listening to. You can't listen to 10 or 11 other different coaches. If you're on a football team, it depends on what position you're playing. Whatever that position is, there's a coach for that. So you're not listening to the coach who's coaching a different position. So you have to keep your mindset stayed on who you are and what you are. And that's a difficult thing to do. Just think about it in life. I see you. I listen to your voice. It's soothing. You ask the right questions. You just have such a way about you. That's something I desire. But truly, that's not me. So I have to admire that. I have to love you for that. I have to uplift you and encourage you in that, because that's a gift that you're giving me to help me to stabilize myself, to be calm. But that's not me. That's your job. That's your coaching for me. And we've had some coaching sessions before, And in those coaching sessions, those are the things that I picked up. Those are the things that I learned. Not so much of our discussion and you telling me what to do, but we learn by emulating the things that we see that we know that are good for us. And even some people do it by the things that are bad. Not so good for them.
I love that. That is good. That's some good stuff. I'm sitting here writing all kind of notes. This is good. I love these conversations because, it really is true to kind of have that perspective. Because if we measure our worth to what somebody else's talent is or their gift, we can miss our own time to shine because,
Exactly.
we're not designed to do the same thing. I love that. So that is really good. Now, so what
Oh,
are some
well,
best
you might.
ways for people to get a hold of you and follow
Well, I
you
am
on
on
your journey?
Facebook,
Definitely
but I
with this
haven't been
body
very
building.
active on Facebook. I just kind of got back on
Okay.
there. I got off because I actually was studying, and
Mhm.
I am on Facebook as Maxine Fredericks.
Mhm.
That's who I am. I am on Instagram as
Mhm.
Maxinator. It's MAX_INATOR. So the Maxinator is my physical
Mhm.
bodybuilding name, and you can reach me by
Okay.
email at fredericksmaxine@gmail.com. And I love networking. I
Okay.
love to connect with people. I have a morning ritual where
Mhm.
I actually send out quotes to people every morning, and I receive hundreds
Mhm.
of quotes from other
Yes.
people that I
Yes.
share with other people. So that's one of the things I'm really, really, really passionate
Mhm.
about developing relationships with people. And mhm.
Mhm. I yeah, I love that, and I would say I just want to interject and say that I love those
Well, I thank you.
quotes that you send because they come right on time.
I, I
They
thank you for
remind you to
accepting
come
them
wake up with
because
the right
that's not an
mindset.
easy task
Mhm.
either. When you reach out to people, you never know who's going to reach back out. You never know what they're
Mhm.
going to say or what their feelings are. So that's one of the things getting over your out of your comfort
Mhm.
zone to reaching out to people. Everybody does not reach back out to you. And the other day I
Mhm.
was just thinking that sometimes I get people say, stop or don't send me any more messages. And I had to learn that when you go into email, every time you go in and you see something that you don't want to subscribe to anymore, you just hit unsubscribe, correct? We don't have any
Mhm.
control of what comes into our box,
Mhm.
but you can unsubscribe. So the message came to me is that if someone says
Right.
stop or they give a negative or they say something that is negative, I just go in and I block that person, pray for them, and I just keep moving on. Because there is a scripture that says that when Jesus was teaching his disciples and he
Amen.
sent them out, wherever you go, if you go into a house and you're not wanted, brush off the dust off your feet and keep moving. There's 7 billion of us out there. There's enough for everybody. And everybody
Mhm.
is not going to be for you, be in
I
your
love
circle.
that.
And some people are going to be in there and they'll stay in there and they still really are not for you.
Mhm.
But that's not for me to determine.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. That's a great mindset to have. So true.
Ah,
Well, I just want to
you-
thank you for your time, Maxine,
thank
and
you,
your
Michelle.
wealth of wisdom. You know, I'm going to add that picture of you, and you were able to take a picture with Les
Well, let,
Brown. So I'm going to put that up
well,
there
let
so
me
people
tell
will
you,
see that, hey, this
I
woman
met
is
Les
about business.
Brown a year after I had written in my prayer journal that I wanted to meet him. So it is so
Wow.
true. The things that you say, the things that you believe, that will happen. If you speak them and you pray, your prayer will be answered if you believe. And there is
Mm.
Jesus, when Jesus asked
Mhm.
one of the people that he healed, He asked them if they believed, and the person said yes. And he said, do not be afraid, believe. And if you believe it, it'll happen. You'll find yourself step by step moving closer and closer, doing the things that you need to do to get to where you want to go. And nothing happens overnight. It's always the process. We're going through a process right now with the virus. This is a process. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, I needed to stop eating so much anyway. It's working in my favor. I got, I say I got 2 years, but 2 years is like, this is January, February, March, April. So I don't really have 2 years. Now I just got a year and 8 months.
Right.
Every day counts. Every day we get up, every day counts. But I want to let you know too, I'm really, really passionate about young women and about young girls. And I'm really passionate, my daughter and I, we're really passionate about teaching women and young girls, like how money works and how to make sure that you have a life that's fulfilling for you outside of the other things that we also want to have in our lives, the love of our lives and all of that. But if you have a financially stable, uh, if you are financially stable, you can almost do anything that you ever want to do in life. The hurts are going to come. All the other things that they're going to come in life. But most of us have not learned that. And because of that, that's the mission that we're on right now. So I'd love to hear from as many people as possible. And again, I'm at fredericksmaxine@gmail.com. And you can see me on Instagram as Maxinator, MAX_INATOR. And I'm on Facebook as Maxine Fredericks. And you'll see the picture there, so you'll know that's me.
Okay. Well, yep. Awesome. Well, we just want to thank you again for everything that you have shared today. And we wish you well on your journey and look forward to catching up with you once
Michelle, thank
you
you
get done
so
with that
very, very, very
bodybuilding
much.
competition.
Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for the time that we've had to spend today. And I would love to come back at some other time after that contest. Okay? All right.
Awesome.
You as well.
Awesome. Okay. Well,
Okay,
you have a
bye-bye.
wonderful day. Okay. What a great interview. I really enjoyed the insight from Maxine and the idea that we can manifest things. Putting something in her prayer journal for over a year and looking at that and believing that and seeing it manifest to actually meeting Les Brown, among other things, and just the inspiration to be approaching the age of 75 when a lot of us are throwing in the towel, so to speak, and thinking that the better part of our life is behind us. She is still pressing forward with goals that are meaningful to be an actual bodybuilder. I am just amazed. So we look forward to seeing her accomplish this goal. If you are interested in being a guest on the podcast, I encourage you to reach out. Send me an email at info@LachelleAtkins.com or follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, or Pinterest. I also have a YouTube channel with lots of tips and hacks that are very important during this time of the pandemic. As a mother of 15 and staying in shelter in place with 12 children, amongst all the other things that I juggle, it's all about collaboration, sharing ideas, and helping one another be the best version of ourselves. I want to thank you guys for listening.